During the pandemic, we had one of the biggest collapses of small owned businesses in the history of this country. Why? Because many of them were deemed non essential. The truth is, big government advocates in the establishment, in the face of that, the Democratic Party has zero respect for people that put in the sweat equity and their own resources into creating businesses that entrepreneurs do in this great country every day. Entrepreneurs make up the backbone of this country, employing so many Americans and leading to such innovation that it's made America the greatest country in the history of the world. And yet they're treated with disdain by Democrats who want to burden you with regulations, who want to have policies that will be easy for large corporations to adhere to, but very difficult for entrepreneurs and small business owners. In fact, we can see how these regulations have made it all but impossible for many people in my state of Pennsylvania to open up their own small businesses, particularly for the first time. No, instead, we see small businesses collapsing at record numbers. You were told if you were a small business that you had to close down, while corporations thrived during the pandemic. In fact, look at something like a hardware store. Local hardware stores around here closed, but you could still go to Home Depot. How did it make sense? Now we see Kamala Harris and the Democrats that want to do things like have taxes on unrealized gains. This would be devastating for business owners who would be unable to put those resources back into their business and would be punished for monies that they hadn't even earned yet. And yet, this is the policy of Kamala Harris. Makes sense, too. We've seen in recent years that the Democratic Party has become the party of the incredibly wealthy. And you might say, well, what about entrepreneurs that are incredibly wealthy? Then they would be better to go with Kamala Harris? Well, no. Many of those entrepreneurs want a free market system where they know that they'll be able to outcompete others and put in their own energy to make sure that they have a successful business. You see how Kevin O'Leary, a great entrepreneur, is actually talking about the difficulties of this environment under Kamala Harris's proposed plans and under the Harris-Biden administration that we see today. In fact, we could see with the cases against Donald Trump how entrepreneurs will be attacked if they actually have political views that are different from the Democratic Party. How can entrepreneurs focus in a world that is so unpredictable that they have no idea if they'll be called non-essential, that they'll be attacked for their political beliefs, that they'll have their unrealized gains be taxed, that will have increased taxes, they're being treated like the enemy, told that they always have to pay their fair share? Or maybe you're an entrepreneur that will be in one of the businesses that's accused of price gouging. Why is that accusation being thrown around? Because the disastrous policies of Kamala Harris and the Biden team and the Democrats in general have led to inflation. And instead of blaming themselves, they say, no, we'll blame entrepreneurs and businesses. That's the world we have to look forward to for entrepreneurs if we see a Harris administration going forward. The economy was better off for all people under Trump. Tax cuts were a boon, we're told, just for entrepreneurs and wealthy people. Not true. Even working class Americans also received relief on their taxes. But it certainly benefited great entrepreneurs that want to put money back into the system to benefit their communities and their companies. The border was more secure. The world was less on fire. So if you want to vote for a party that treats you with contempt and disdain, that will call you non-essential, that will say that you're always the problem to shirk the blame off their own disastrous policies, then by all means, vote for Kamala Harris and Democrats. But if you want a party that respects your hard work, one that will leave you keep more of your hard-earned wealth and put it back into your companies and your community, ones that won't shut you down, that will cut burdensome regulations and be better for the economy, the border, and world security overall, then I urge you to go out and vote for Donald Trump 2024 and the Republicans down ticket.